step into the world of Inspired by Cyndia, a mental health life coach with a podcast dedicated to mental health and life coaching. Cyndia is here to ignite your inner spark and accompany you on the path to embracing your authentic self. Together, you'll set out on a journey to uncover the stories of remarkable individuals who have left a lasting mark on her. So, brace yourself for a sprinkle of inspiration that will light up your life.
Hey, welcome to Inspire by Cyndia, where my aim is not only to inspire you, but to help you shift your perspective. For my Gen Zs and millennials, I wanted to remind you, and I know you heard it thousands and thousands of times, but I wanted to send you a little nugget of a reminder, especially with all that's going on around us, to listen to the whispers, your inner self, your intuition. So I invited an extraordinary guest that's no stranger. She's a Jay Shetty life coach, and her name is Anna. Anna, how are you today? And can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. So, my name is Anna, and I am an alum from the Jay Shetty Life Coaching School. And I'm an intuition and embodiment coach. So, I primarily work with women, and my role is to really help women realign back to that inner wisdom. I think our bodies hold so much power and potential and wisdom for us, and a lot of times we've been trained out of that knowing. We've been trained out of really following our intuition and being in our bodies and listening to them. A lot of times we're in our heads because it feels safer. And so my job is to really support women as they kind of make that journey back inwards and discover those parts of themselves that maybe they forgot, and learn to use that to create a life that they love.
Now, how did you, Anna, become out tuition coach?
That's such a great question. I would say when you're going through that certification process and trying to kind of discover yourself and what your niche might be and who you might be able to help, I think it was really difficult for me to get specific. And so I know that I've always you know, I feel like I've always been on this journey of asking these big questions about why are we here? What's our purpose? What's our relationship to life? What about God and the universe? And so I've had these questions since I was really a young girl. And I know when I was in my 20s, I kind of started to be led down this path, just kind of exploring more spirituality and soul work. And so it just kind of fit. It just fit with the direction my life had taken, all of the things that I'd been through. I felt like, for me, that was my journey. Learning how to really allow my inside to live on the outside, and not covering that up anymore. So it just felt like I'd spent so many years on that path, and I felt like I'd finally kind of come into myself and come into my authenticity, and I really want to help other women do the same.
Okay. And briefly, how do you teach to show someone to get out of their head? How does that really looks like?
Yeah, it can look like a variety of things. I think a big part of it is learning how to be back in our bodies. And I think your breath is kind of that connection point. And so just learning to sit with yourself, and it could be, focusing on your breathing, seeing, what emotions come up for you. Um, a lot of times it's movement. I think we get stuck. We get kind of in this paralysis mode with overthinking and analyzing, especially if we're, women who are, professional women, high performing women, we're in that work mode all the time. And so we need to use our brains, but then we've forgotten that other piece of us. That's not just our mind, our bodies. And so movement can be a tool that helps us kind of remember that we're more than just, a brain. And then I think, meditating too, and just allowing yourself that space to be still and not have anything specific to focus on, and just giving yourself some time to just sit with yourself and be still, is a part of it too. Yeah. So those are just some of the ways.
Yeah. So, was it something helps other women in their spiritual lives?
Yeah, I think there was a lot of different things. I know, a lot of challenges that I went through as a young person. I'm 43 now, and I know, I was a young mom. I had my son, my first son, when I was 20, and at the time, I don't know, it felt like a really young age. And him and my his dad and I were really unprepared, and so it was kind of like a shock into reality. And I think I did a lot of things in my life up until just recently, because I was in survival mode. It was about being practical, what was best for him, and then his brothers that came along later. And so it wasn't really about me. It was more about my role as a mom and how I could best serve in that role. And I think that's important. But when you separate, who you are as a mom from who you are as, right? Um, you don't live fully, and you make decisions that aren't really coming from an authentic place. And you get into careers like I did because they're practical. They're good for your family at the time, and that's okay. I think there's times where we have to make decisions like that. But I think, now more than anything, I really believe that we don't have to give up other pieces of ourselves. We can be who we really want to be, and our desires matter too.
Yeah, I think that's amazing. What's the legacy that you want to leave behind?
Oh gosh, wow, that's such a big word, legacy. Yeah, I think I think more than anything, I want people who come into contact with me, I want them to feel like they are, like who they are matters, um, that there's no judgment, you know, whatever decisions you made in your past doesn't mean anything about who you are now or who you can be. And I really just want people to, um, walk away from any time that they spend with me feeling empowered, feeling like they have the tools that they need to walk into a new life for themselves, and feeling like they're supported.
What's a time in your life that you felt what's a time in your life you felt that you didn't have the support?
Gosh, I felt like that so many times. Um, I think in the beginning, when my husband and I, when we first met, we were so young. I was 19 and he was 23, 24. And, we had this really whirlwind kind of fast romance and ran off and got married and then decided, to have a baby, not knowing what all of that meant. And so, I think in those early years, um, I definitely felt like I wasn't supported. Like I didn't have people around me who who knew how to just love me regardless.
Mhm.
There was always this expectation. I think my parents were really disappointed. They wanted me to, um, go to college and have a career, and I did all that later. But they definitely were not expecting that I was gonna, be a mom at 20. And so that was hard. That was really hard. It was lonely. It was lonely for sure, in all the ways. So and I don't know what kept me going, to be honest. I think just life, I think you just have this will to do better, to be better.
Yeah. Are you still married?
Yes, yeah, I'm still married to their dad, and that's been a journey. That's a whole other podcast.
Yes.
But we're still married, and we have three boys together. Um, yeah, and that relationship has definitely been such an important part of my journey and my growth. Um, for sure. Yeah, he's a very important person in my life, and I know I wouldn't be who I am today if it wasn't for who he is. So I'm very grateful for that. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever wanted girls, or
Oh, how
were
can you?
you just
You know,
happy to have those boys?
yeah, I didn't. I was just happy that I had a healthy baby, and there was never, I know some women really want a daughter. I never really did. I think with my second, we decided not to find out, and it was like, okay, like kind of hoping it was a girl, but I didn't really, I think my husband was more like, it would be cool to have a girl. I didn't really, it wasn't that important to me. And I love having three boys. It's amazing. It's hard, but it's so fun. They're so fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I think girls need that more of intuition push, always reminding them who they are more than,
Yeah.
boys. So I would think maybe you wanted a daughter to teach
Mhm.
her and mother her in a special way versus
Yeah.
with the boy.
Yeah. I'm really looking forward to being a grandmother. I really feel that I'm going to have granddaughters, and that will be the time. I don't know if I had daughters that I didn't have it together. Like I just, um, like I said, I'm 43. I feel like I'm just kind of now piecing myself back together. And so I probably would have taught her all the wrong things. So it's probably a
Wow.
blessing. Yeah.
And what inspires you these days?
Oh gosh, my children, absolutely. Just seeing them grow into young men is amazing. They're all, they're different. They're similar in so many ways, but they're also different and their unique talents. And it's just so fun to watch. It's amazing just to see them be themselves and express. And so they definitely inspire me for sure. Yeah.
Mm, That's awesome.
And I guess one other, I would say nature. I love being outdoors, and I get so much inspiration just from like walking around my neighborhood. I love looking at the flowers and the trees, and feeling the sun on my skin. It's definitely a peaceful place for me, being in nature. Yeah.
Yeah. And do you hear the whisper? Is that more of hearing God's voice? Hearing what, how would that look like?
Yeah, I think such a good question. It looks different for everyone. Essentially, I think our feelings are that compass that guide us, within.
Mhm.
So our feelings communicate a lot of things to us, and if we can really learn to sit with our emotions, and allow them to be right, and not try and um, distract ourselves. We have a lot of ways to distract ourselves, whether it's food or alcohol or, overworking. We distract ourselves a lot. Um, so I think that's a big piece of it. And then it people translate your intuition in so many different ways. I know it can sound like a very mysterious word, but it's really just learning, we all have this, I believe we all have a soul, and that soul is here with us and it's guiding us. And so it's really learning how to kind of realign back to that flow, right? Our soul's always offering us ideas and inspiration. And so really just tuning back into that and being in that flow, and following the lead, right? Following the lead, and so those impulses that come through can be simple things, right? Like you don't know it, but you're following your intuition when you go outside and decide to check the mail, right? Or just
Right.
those little things, you decide oh, I think I want to go and grab a coffee at this place today. Like they're purposeful, and it's good that we don't overanalyze it, right? It's good that we just kind of allow ourselves to go those ways when we can. And um, so yeah, those are intuitive things that we listen to every day. And then there's deeper work that you can do really, to
Mhm.
kind of get to the root of maybe what's holding you back in life. To really uncover some of your deep desires. Those are things that take a little bit more processing, and that might be helpful to work with a coach.
Yeah. And how was your spiritual life growing up?
Yeah. Um, well, my parents were not religious. They were they're actually immigrants. So I was born in Croatia, and my parents moved to the U.S. when they were in their 30s, and I was about 8 years old. But growing up, they were not religious either. They were just, I would say, Catholic, but we didn't go to church. We observed Christmas and Easter, and I they did put me in like confirmation classes and all of that, even though they're not religious people. So that's a little confusing if I think about it. Like, why was that so important to them? But so I grew up with those Catholic kind of beliefs. But I think because my parents didn't really strongly adhere to those, and they were very kind of open-minded. They always believed in, they're very much more like scientific people, practical people. Um, I think it gave me this avenue where I could explore. And so, um, after high school and definitely, I think when I had my son, that was kind of a wake up for me. And I just had so many more questions about life. And so I just kind of started to read different things.
Okay. And reading, you found the true meaning of, what it feels like to look inward and find your North Star.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I was, blessed to be led to a lot of great books and just being curious. And so just kind of piecing together, that knowledge that exists, that's there for us, and that we really do, we are being guided, and we do have access to it, and we are powerful, co-creators here on this planet. So, yeah.
What if someone in the audience would say, feeling lost within, what
Mm.
some advice would you give them, not knowing their way?
Yeah, I would definitely, I would say that's okay. First of all, I would say that's part of the journey, being lost, and feeling those heavy emotions that can come up when we're in spaces like that. Um, and having just the awareness to know that that's what you're feeling is so important. Number one, I think that's already a step in the right direction, is just being aware that you're feeling a certain way.
Mhm.
And then I would just say to that person, make time for yourself. A simple thing is just to make time for yourself every day, even if it's uncomfortable. Give yourself, 5 or 10 minutes to just sit with yourself quiet in a quiet room, with no other distractions. And maybe that means you have to get up earlier. Um, and just allow yourself to just sit with those uncomfortable feelings and those thoughts, and try not to get wrapped up in the story. Try not to get wrapped up in the story, and see if you can come back to your breath and to your body. And over time, I think that's how our awareness grows, and we learn to kind of diffuse those negative emotions. And then, once, I think, when you can do that, you can make space for your intuition to come in and guide you in a different way. But you do have to be the one to make the space.
Okay, so you're saying if I sit down for 30 minutes a day in a quiet room, I can get closer to my actual self, or what myself is saying, my higher
Yeah.
self is saying.
Yeah. It's you. It's not separate from you, So if you give yourself that space and that time to focus on you, right? Whether it's
Mhm.
your emotions or your thoughts or your body, it'll come through. And it's not gonna for me, it's not like this loud booming voice that I hear, and that tells me these you know breakthrough lightning kind of answers to life. It's more of like a, a whisper,
Hmm.
a nudge, and again, it can be very simple, like, ooh, check out this book, or do you want to call this person? And then it kind of weaves into this bigger picture later on. In hindsight, you can see, oh, wow, I can see that I was being led. So, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Thank you. Where can we find you?
Yeah. Right now I'm on Instagram, Daughter O Pearl. It's an ode to my mom. Her name means pearl. And
Nice.
yeah, so daughter O Pearl is where I am. You'll see my account there, and anyone who's interested in coaching, getting coached by me, you can send me a DM.
Okay, that's awesome. I thank you for your time and being. Is there anything you would like to share with us in regards of intuition or just someone finding their way?
Yeah, I think just want to leave people with um, the idea, the hope that you're okay. You're in the right spot wherever you are, and you can get to where you want to be from wherever you are, wherever you are. And I've been in some really low places, internally, and even in my outside world did not look that great for many years. So um, it's okay, and you can still get to where you want to be.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for your time. And
Thank you.
thank you. And it was a pleasure speaking to you today.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.